So, um, I don't know if folks have used CodePen, but it's an online interactive coding environment. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so that everybody can see the CodePen interface. But then I'm also going to post the link in Phase 2 Slack. And what I want, so I think there's a maximum of 6 people that can be collaboratively editing at any one time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the challenge, the coding challenge, and then whoever wants to step up and code, and this can be multiple people, go ahead and click that link so that you open up the same thing in your browser and can start typing away. So let me share my screen first. Da-da-da. So tell me, can you see the CodePen screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. Great. So let me paste in the challenge. And I'll go ahead and read this. Oh, great, that works. Okay, so here's the challenge. Let me make sure that we can read the whole thing. It looks like it's, yeah, looks like it's fitting. Great. So the challenge is you're running a pool of servers where the servers are numbered sequentially starting from 1. Over time, any given server might explode, in which case its server number is made available for reuse. This is a very dangerous situation, exploding servers. When a new server is launched, it should be given the lowest available number. So write a function which, given the list of currently allocated server numbers, returns the number of the next server to allocate. Does that make sense? The next server to allocate. In addition, you should demonstrate your approach to testing that your function is correct. You may choose to use an existing testing library for your language if you choose, or you may write your own process if you prefer. And we'll see how far we get into that. So let's focus on the function at first. And so there's a couple examples here. For example, your function should behave something like the following. If given next server number 5, 3, and 1, the next server would be 2. Next server number 5, 4, 1, 2, it would be 3. And you guys can see the rest. So first off, does the challenge itself make sense? Sal says no. Okay, anybody else? And feel free, I'll be watching the chat, but also feel free to just come on voice.
Are we supposed to instantiate some way for these servers to explode?
No. So what you are given is an array of the current list of servers, which will not include any servers that exploded. So in the first example, 5, 3, 1, you can assume that server 2 and server 4 exploded, but you don't need to do anything about that.
I'm just having a hard time seeing like the pattern from the examples to figure out, like on line A when it says 5, 3, 1, and now you're running server 2, and on line 10 it says 5, 4, 1, 2, and you're running server 3. Like I just don't see the pattern here to basically start the coding.
Good. Okay. So this is a perfect moment to model what will actually happen in these job interviews, which is the interviewer won't really explain it more. I mean, they might clarify it, but they're not going to kind of break it down more and more for you. So is there someone else who is who's here who thinks they get what this challenge is about and wants to explain it to the group or explain it in a different way?
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
oh,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Jen, were you about to say something?
Yeah, so we're given a set of numbers, and we're supposed to find the lowest number in the sequence and return it.
Okay.
If
Miles, did you have anything to add or change?
Yeah, it's the lowest number that's not in the sequence. So I guess in the first one, we have a server number 1, but we don't have a server number 2. So that would be the next one that would be assigned and what we'd want that function to return.
Yes.
If we look at the next one, now there is a server number 2. So we have 1, we have 2, but we don't have a 3. So we'll return that.
But the one after that is a higher number. It's not a lower number. That's what made me confused.
So we have a 1, we have a 2, we have a 3. So now we'll go with 4. It starts from, I guess, without starting with 0. It makes sure that every number is there, and then when it finds a number that's not there, it returns it and says, "Oh, this one's available."
But 5 isn't there either. That's what's confusing me. I thought
5 isn't on which one are you referring to?
on the third one, it's
So the
1, 2,
third,
and 3.
yeah. So the next number after that would be 4. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
only running this function for the numbers that are passed into that function each time. It's not aware that there was a 5 in the past. So when the next server number, I guess each time that each next server number that you see is a completely separate instance from all the other ones.
Yes.
So on the second one where you see that we passed in 5412, it looked at that set of information and gave you a result. But then when we called it the next time, it had no idea that there was ever a 5 passed into it. The third time, it's only evaluating 3, 2, and 1. So it's like if we have, when we do, I don't know, sort or something like that, it's not saying, oh, let me sort based off of what you told me to sort last time. It's only sorting off of the callback you give it that time.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, every time we call next server number, it's only going to do stuff with the array that we're passing it that time.
So like with 2 and 3, it's it says 1 instead of. Okay, I think I get it.
Yeah, another way to think of this is it's the lowest unassigned number. And 1 is where we start, so it can't be lower than 1.
Okay.
So you want to return the lowest number that isn't currently assigned to a server, and what's being passed in are the numbers that are assigned to servers. So in this example on line 17 and 18, just like Miles was saying, server 2 is assigned, is a server already, and server 3 is a server. But we don't have a server 1, so 1 is the lowest unassigned number.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thanks, Miles.
Yeah, no problem.
So any other questions in the group about clarifying the challenge itself? Got Jen, Alex, Miles, Sal. It just resorted. Sabrin, James, Jack, Mateo. So, all right. So who would like to take a whack at this? And it can be multiple folks. Who would like to step out into the courageously step out into the arena and give this one a shot? And know that you'll have the support of your buddies. Crickets. Can we get the link in the chat? Yep. So I'm pasting it in the chat here. If somebody needs me to paste it in, that was just a private chat. If somebody needs me to paste it in the Slack channel, I can do that too if you, for some reason, can't get it in the Zoom group chat. So who would like to give this a shot?
I can at least start it out.
I can try.
Oh, please do.
No, please go ahead. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
no.
fine.
Why don't both of you get started on it? One of you can type, and the other one can talk it out. And the thing that I encourage you to do is, as you are working on this, be saying out loud what you're thinking. This is another one of those interview skills, is not just coding the thing, but being able to share with the interviewer what's going on in the moment. Why are you doing this? What are you thinking? That sort of thing.
Okay, sounds good. Miles, you want to tackle that together? I don't know if Miles, can you hear me?
Ha 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 ha. All right.
So are you two both in the code pen in your own browsers?
Yes, I see it on my side. I'm trying to see if it's updating on your side. I don't know how the collaborative portion of it works.
Are you typing something in the JavaScript?
Yes, I added after on line 22, after the three little ticks, I typed working, and it's not settings.
Oh, you know what I probably have to do? Okay, collab mode. So let me send out this link again. You might need to go to a different link.
Okay.
Yep, so try that second link and that should work.
There we go.
Miles, are you typing something? There we go.
Cool.
Working.
All right.
So Sal and Miles are they're in the hot seat, but everyone on the call, I encourage you to jump in, share your thoughts. If you have an idea, share that. And we'll just work on this together.
So the first thing that comes to mind when looking at how I would approach the problem is that we want to do something surrounding order of these numbers. We're trying to find the lowest number that's not in an array.
Mm-hmm.
So we could sort the array and do some type of walking through it. We could start at the bottom and just ask, hey, array, do you have 1? Nope. Cool. Do you have 2? Nope. And keep going up the thing. What were your thoughts on a way to attack the problem?
Well, the first thing that I noticed is that the next server number, the function only takes arrays. I would the first thing that came to my mind was check if the value passed into the function, if it's an array, type of array, then go ahead and do the process. If it's not, then just send return back an error or something saying it's invalid input. That was the first thing that came to my mind. And then noticing that we working with an array, what I thought about is doing a simple for loop and just checking the value, see one element at a time, see, and then just iterating through the array. And maybe do some kind of sorting to see what is the smallest value, checking against maybe the one element to the following one.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we both are finding paths to a solution surrounding sorting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with that. I guess let's go ahead and create the next server number function and have it check that we are passing it an array.
Do you want me to type or do you want to go ahead and type?
I can type. Let's see, so we'll have function. Oops. Number. So we agree that the first thing we want to do is make sure that this takes in an array,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to make sure that the array is an instance of, I think it's supposed to be one word.
Mm-hmm.
Guys are doing great. And for everybody else, I've pasted in the chat the challenge text too, if you want to refer back to that. And so we've got Alex, James, Jen, Jack, Matteo, Sabrin, and Stephanie also on the line. If you have a thought, if you have a suggestion, let's do this together. So go ahead and pop off mute and share it.
So we have an array that we have I guess first now we know we have an array. Then we can sort it, we said.
Mm-hmm.
So now theoretically we should have an array that has all the numbers sorted from the lowest to highest. How would we want to look at that data to try to find the lowest number that's not in the array?
Sorry, this is James popping in. So just in terms of the sort function, if our numbers go over 10, it's going to cause a problem because it's going to sort 10 before chew. So we just need to pass in a callback function to array.sort so that it sorts the numbers.
What are y'all thinking?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was still on mute. So we happen to be sitting next to each other.
Good.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. So in JavaScript, it sorts numbers as if they were strings, basically.
That's right.
Mm.
So now let's say that we were evaluating this first one. Can I even do that? I can. Cool. All right, so let's pretend this is what was going down. So at this point, array should equal what? 135. So how would we look at this set of numbers and try to have it give us 2?
Mm. And then also,
yeah.
I have a question for Justin. Justin, so the numbers, like the servers has to be like there should be no decimals in it. It should be like 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
All integers.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that came to my mind when I see the data on line 27, the array 135, is just check if the following, and if the next element to the array is only larger by +1, and if that's the case, then check the next element if it's only larger by +1. If not, then return that element plus 1.
Okay.
So if it checks, it goes to number 1. It says it's the element at the index 0. So we got to take the element at the index 0 is going to be 1. It's the element at the index 1 is the element at the index 0 plus 1. If that's correct, then go to the following one. But in this case, since it's not correct, then just return the element at index 0 plus 1, which is going to return 2. And just keep checking.
I had a similar idea. The way I was thinking of it was, I guess we know we want 1 to be the first number, ideally, or else 1 is a problem, I guess, or else it's not in the array, I guess, after we've sorted it. So we could check, like, for every index, I guess we start with 0. Is the number that you have 1 more than your index? So, like, 1 should be at 0 and 2 should be at 1 on through. But we see that when we get to index 1, which should be 2, it's not, it's 3. So that's where, like, oh, yep, there's no 2 here. So that's where we could put in a 2. But yours sounds much more solid. I think mine would probably, I'd have to play around with it and get that to work. So let's start fleshing out, turning into actual code, whatever that word would be in code ease, your method there.
Cool.
So I will let you do that.
Okay, sweet. So I think I'm just gonna skip the array.sort for now. I'm just gonna comment it out and just do like a regular for loop. And then just like an if condition and that. Well, the first thing I'm going to check if the array at the index 0 does not equal 1, then just return. So if the first element at the array is not 1, then we just want to return 1 because that's going to be like easier than iterating through the whole thing. Because that's going to be always the smallest integer.
So let me paste this up here. Since we've commented out the sort array, for the particular example that we're looking at, this would be the array that you're attacking right now.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see.
So just so that that's easily accessible.
Sal, what was your thinking in commenting out the sorting?
I just wanted to start with a simple for loop and then maybe like refactor that later just to get the concept, see if that works or not.
Okay.
So it sounds to me that the direction that you're going, like the way you explained it, like definitely should work very solidly, but I think it will work after the array has been sorted.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're right. Because here, if we start with the 5, then the if condition on line 30, it's gonna be true, and it's gonna return 1 versus 1 already exists, which is gonna be false. It's gonna be incorrect here.
Right.
Okay.
So no, I think we should keep it. I think we just want to like allow the sort to happen first.
Okay. So comment that out. Comment.
So with that, we now are back to 1, 3, 5.
Cool. And so yeah, and then so I think after the sort now the condition applies, right?
Right.
If the array at the index 0 does not equal 1, then then just return 1, else um, try to remember the logic. So if the
I like the logic you have in there because it definitely solves our conditions. But the logic you have right now is tied to like specific numbers. So how could we make that logic work so that as we're iterating through the array, it applies to like each transaction, shall we say?
okay, so that,
Like,
Great
okay,
question.
uh-huh.
so right now we're saying like if the array is this very specific thing, like if array at index 0
Mhm.
is not equal to 1, then return 1. And now
Mhm.
we're saying like, all right, well, if that wasn't the case, then else, and it seemed like the next thing we would say, all right, so now if array at index 1 is not equal to 2, then return 2. And we
Mhm.
kind of have to keep changing this, and every time we're doing it, we're iterating all the numbers by 1. So instead of having to, I guess, write that out each time, and we're already in a for loop,
Yeah.
how could we change the ones and zeros to variables so that every time that loop runs through, it can use that same piece of logic we already have to get the goal accomplished?
Right. Yeah, definitely. That's a great thing. So I think if we check if the array at the index 0, so if the array at the index I, and that's in the first iteration, it's going to be the first one. So if that does not equal 0, then just return 1. If it does equal, I'm sorry, if it does not equal 1, then return 1. But if it does equal 1, I'm just going to take out the else statement here.
Yeah.
So
So what do you want on the other side of that does not equal? Y'all are doing great. James?
So, yeah, this is James again. So we could put on the other side of that array I plus 1, possibly.
I would agree.
I see what you mean. So, wait, okay, so if the array at index I doesn't equal 1, then it's gonna check the next iteration.
So the way I like to just for myself to keep track of what all we're doing in for loops, I like to either talk about it in variables or in the resolved number. So the array at index I or the array at 0 is going to be equal to I plus 1 or 1. But then if we run that again, it'll be the array at index 1. Say like we actually complete that for loop and it iterates I, so I plus plus. Then it'll be the array at 1 is not equal to 2, return I plus 1 or return 2.
So given what you're saying, Miles, what do you need to change about the code currently?
So remember that this was previously the way we had it, this was a 0. And what we want to do is pretty much this. Except we don't want to keep this as a hard-coded 0. That's why we changed this to an I. And we'd want to do the same thing on these. I don't know if my cursor is popping around the screen with everybody else's.
Mm-hmm.
On everybody else's. But the same way that we saw this was a 0 initially, and we were like, yeah, let's change this to an I so that we can continue to use it. We'd want to do the same thing on these. Oops. So that every time we run through and this gets iterated to the next one, this is now 1, so this will be 2, and this will be 2. And this will be 2, so this will be 3, and so forth.
Mm.
I think that the only thing that I would change is on line 30 is that if the array at the index I does not equal only 1 without the I, Because here now, so if the array is index I, which is in this case 0 is going to be the integer 1, does not equal 2. Now it's going to be 2, which is going to be, the condition is going to be true, and we're going to return 2.
So repeat what you said for me. You said the array at index I, which would be the array at index.
So the array at index I at the first iteration is going to be 1, and I'm just thinking this out loud. So if 1 does not equal 2, then return 2. Okay, yeah, I see this. Cool.
I just want to flag something for a minute.
Yeah.
Sal and Miles are modeling something really excellent right now, which is debugging your code verbally, being able to talk through your code and actually step through the execution of your code without actually running it through the compiler, the interpreter. So this is great. You guys are doing great.
Cool. Sweet. Yeah, I think this should work.
Cool.
Yeah. Do you want to test it, Miles?
I think so. Let's
Okay.
do it. So I don't know how to code pin. Is there a run this?
I think it's just save. Let me try this.
How do we open the console area, or is that something that can't happen in?
Console is down here.
There is like a toggle button at the bottom on the left corner. It says console. If you click on that, then probably you should be able to run the code.
Huh. It's not actually popping up on mine, but if we want to run it.
Can Sal run it?
I have the same problem as Miles. When I click on it, doesn't work. I think maybe only Justin, because he's the host, maybe he's able to.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we've got a syntax error, because what's that?
I was gonna say I see there's a little caret down there at the bottom of the console. You might have to like type your request. Well, no.
Oh, Justin, I do. Yeah, right. I think we're missing a closing curly bracket.
Ah. There's the if.
Yeah, on line 35, I think we need a closing bracket on 35.
Oh, no, that's too much. Yeah, we have to close the full array.
There we go. So we got hello now.
Yeah, we were just missing a closing curly bracket on 35 too.
Oh, then we have to return. Oh, we did return the number. Okay.
Yeah. So.
So it's still you doing your console log.
There we go. Oh, it's because this isn't being console logged. There we go.
Ah, okay.
There we go.
Are you guys able to see the results? Because
it's showing up on Justin's screen in Zoom, but not on CodePen.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys aren't seeing it, do try clicking console at the bottom, and then you might have to drag some screens up. It's not the most intuitive interface, but...
it looks like on the collab, haha. There it is.
It worked?
Good. So how do y'all think you're doing?
Oh, sorry. I think well, at least for the first of the list of ones to try, it looks like it has accomplished the spec. So we could try a few more of those and be sure they're producing the right numbers.
Yeah, I was just gonna say let's do a bunch of those.
But it looks pretty solid.
And if I could just
In fact, we could do this.
pester some of the people who are on, Stephanie and Mateo and Theo and Sabrin and Latoya. What do you all think of this? Is this making sense? Do you have any suggestions? Do you think they're on the right path or not?
I think they're on the right path. Like, I can see the answers are showing that the actual missing numbers.
Okay, good.
I think that there's a method that can be used, and I'm just trying to figure out which one.
Oh, wait, sorry. Breaking stuff.
But I do like that they use like the simplest way of tackling this problem.
Mm.
Because I know you can always optimize later. But for example, how Sal suggested like a simple for loop. But yeah.
Great.
So in the council, we got some numbers. I'm not sure which ones they're firing from, so we could do. This one should have 2, and we'll change these back to returns.
I'm interested to see if the last one going to work, the empty array.
So you've got a typo there, co-console.
Ah, all right. Oh. And with that, it's supposed to be 3, 4, 1, 1.
Good. So let's look at the results that we're getting. So,
so that's the last one.
So somebody other than Miles and Sal, just for a moment, and we can let Miles and Sal jump back in. Why do you think we're getting the results we're getting from line 39 and line 41? So it's 4 and undefined and 1 and undefined.
Because
I think, oh, go ahead.
sorry, because 4 and 1 are being taken out of the array. Like on line 39, 4 is no longer included in the array of 3, 2, and 1. And then on line 40, 1 is not included in the array of 2 and 3. I just jumped in at 10:30, so I don't really know, but that's just an observation.
I think it's because they're adding +1.
So you're
say more about that, Sabrin.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I think they're trying to return a value that's at a range because they're returning I plus 1. So if you look at the array on line 39, the value is 1, 2, 3. Those are all sequential. They'd try to return 4. But, oh, never mind, because that's not actually returning. I came in late too. I'm gonna step back.
Let me ask a question to the group. Is the function next server number returning at all when it's run on line 39? So with this function call, is next server number actually returning at all?
No,
No.
because in every number there, it looks like we meet the if condition or don't meet the if condition, and therefore never hit return.
Yeah, I think at the last iteration when the I equals 3, and it checks if does not equal to. Yeah, I think because the if condition is false here, doesn't return anything. Hmm.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So my thought there is, in the event that we make it through this entire for loop and we don't hit a return condition here, then the entire length of the array has every number where it should be, and we should return the next number, which would be 4, or the number that would be one more than the length of the entire array. So if 1 is in the first position, 2 is in the second, 3 is in the third, then the next number we need is 4. I don't know if that solves all. Well, yeah, I guess it should also solve the blank array, because then it would say if I'm looking at position 0, well, let's try it. It looks like in the console everything resolved.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of cloudy on why it worked for the blank array, but yeah, it looks like it does.
That's great. So somebody else other than Sal and Miles, why do you think 42 worked? Why do you think line 42 worked?
I think that 42 worked because an empty array is 0. So if it's array dot length plus 1, then 1 would be the number that's added to the array.
Very clear. Miles, what do you think of that?
For some reason, I thought it would get caught in the for loop, and it might, honestly, because I would be 0 and it would return I plus 1. I would think that it would say like, hey, let me look at, I equals 0, I is less than the array length, and the array length is 0. So I guess, yeah, it would never actually enter the for loop. So it jump right down to array return. Okay.
Does everybody else see that? That when you call this function with an empty array, this for loop, you never actually enter it.
Why is that?
Yes, James.
If I is 0.
Miles, do you want to?
I see it. I see it. Yeah, I totally see it.
Good. It's this condition. This is the condition on which we continue. And when I is 0, 0 is not less than 0. So we don't do it. Good. Great work. So are you done?
I think we are. I think this basically solves every example that's been given to us. So I would think at this point, this solves the problem.
So when you said demonstrate your approach to testing that your function is correct, do you feel that, throwing a number of scenarios at it and checking the results solve or covers that? Or are you talking like mocha chai, that thing?
What do you think?
Well, we made something that said, let's check and see that you throw an error. We instantiated a way for it to throw an error if it wasn't an array, but we didn't test anything that wasn't an array.
Could we do like a console.assert to test?
Yeah.
Was that Latoya?
Yes.
Say more about that. Why would you want to do that?
Well, I know that in phase 1, that's how we learned just like simple testing. And then I know that console.alert writes an error message in the console if the assertion is false. And if it's not, then it just continues on running your program accordingly. So I think that since this is just simple and we're doing it in CodePen, we may not be able to do Mocha Chai here. So I was just thinking of an alternative, which would be console.assert.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Yeah, for my tastes, console.log, console.assert, both good options. If this were an interview, if I were the interviewer, what I would be looking for is not so much which tool they use. So you could use Mocha and Chai, you could use console logs or console asserts. I'd be looking at the question, are they sufficiently testing this function? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are they sufficiently testing this function? So what do we see about that as a group? Are we sufficiently testing this function so that you're confident that it behaves as you want it to?
I think we are with the console.logs.
I would want to test. I would want to throw just plain numbers in there, objects, pass it a bunch of things that aren't arrays.
Okay.
Yeah, I would second actually both. I would second Sabrina saying the console log is enough, but also throw like a bunch of also like strings, object, since we also had a condition to check the type of the array, the value passed into the function. But I would say the console log would be sufficient to make sure that the function works.
Okay. One thing that you encountered right away at the beginning was, and Sal, was it you that was mentioning that if there was something over 10 or over, it would be sorted, 10 would be sorted after 1, not after 9.
No,
James.
that was not me.
I think that was James.
Okay. James, are you satisfied with this function, or is there another test that you'd want to add to it?
Yeah, I would say let's pass it in some numbers that are smaller than and bigger than 10 and see if they like pass it in a 20 and or rather like a 10 and a 2 and see if it sorts properly.
Okay. Are you in the CodePen, or do you want your buddies to write something up?
I'm not in the CodePen. I can jump in, or if somebody else wants to type, that's fine too.
I mean, you can get right here if you want.
All right, I'm literally just going to jump on Miles' computer because he's sitting next to me.
Do it the old-fashioned way.
Easy enough.
So what should the output of that be? And there's something else that you'll need to do.
Should be 1.
Okay, got 1.
Oh, sweet.
Okay. We'll save that. Cool. So was that you, James, that was writing that out? Well, James may not be at his.
I think you're muted. You two are muted, Miles.
Yes, James was writing it out, and I was watching behind. That's funny. There's a lot of conversation I thought you all were hearing. So sorry.
I could hear you just because you're muted.
So explain to us what you're doing in 44 through 49.
I guess James was doing a test to make sure that the error that we had established was in fact thrown properly. And at first, we were doing it like we had all the other tests. We were saying, let's just print out to the log what we want to get, and then run the function and see what the result is. But we realized that because it's throwing an error, it won't actually return the error to console to be logged.
Mm-hmm.
So instead we did a try catch, and we said, try this, and if the error is thrown, which is what we want to have happen, catch it and print it out so we can see it. Yeah.
Great.
I have a question. Where is the words here? This isn't an array. Where is that at?
That is coming from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mine. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Good. So we're getting close to the end of the hour. The only other thing I'd say about this is I would be interested to see a test that includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, because that's the only one that I can see that would test this particular odd test case where it would be sorted 1, 10, 2, 3, 4. So that's really my only feedback on this. Y'all did great, everyone who was coding on this.
It worked.
It worked. Okay, great. So in the last couple minutes, I'd love to hear from a few people. Has this been useful to you?
Yes, I jumped on late at 10:30, and I was really excited to see this happening and just be able to throw ideas out there and figure out what works and doesn't work. So I really like this model. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, I think it was great, Justin.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this interview, and I would love to discuss salary options in the future.
Justin, can I ask a really quick question?
Sure.
There may not be a quick answer, but when we're using the sort method, I know that it kind of gets confusing with like the tens and the double digits, but why does A minus B solve that? How does that solve that issue?
Miles or James or Sal, whoever wrote that, do you want to say why you wrote that?
I think that was Miles.
I'll let James explain it, though. He's the one who brought it up as an issue. If you want to, I mean, I'll explain it. I can show some situations where that would be a problem. As was said, if you don't put it as, or if you don't pass that callback where it takes in the elements and sets them equal to A and B, then it looks at the numbers as strings. So 1 would be evaluated as 1, 0, which is kind of weird to say it. It would sort. Yeah, if somebody else wants to explain.
Oh yeah, I was just going to jump in. So it's sorting by the alphanumeric value of the letter. And so when you sort a number as a string, it's pulling the alphanumeric value of each character, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. So that it would actually, because it's seeing the 1 first, it's just like, oh, okay, I know the alphanumeric value of 1, and it's not seeing that it's a 10. So if you put the A and B in, it makes it so that it's evaluating it. I guess that's the part where I know that the A and B works, and I know why it doesn't work without it, but I don't exactly know why A and B fixes it.
Yeah, so the sort method uses something called the Unicode, and that's, I don't have like a deeper understanding of like how the Unicodes work, but for that reason, It's just like if you look up the MDN docs, it says that the sort method is not the most it's not the most stable method to sort because of use something like the alphanumerically the Unicode points to sort things. So it's not always 100% dependable to use sort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whoever is typing right now has got it. That for some reason, sort will take an array of numbers and interpret them as strings. And so what we need to do is we need to give sort a different sorting function, because its internal sorting function is sorting them as strings, which, you know, doesn't really make sense to me why you would do that. But so in this case, you're giving it a function that takes a value and another value, a and b, and it returns a minus b. So if a is 2 and b is 1, you're going to be returning 2 minus 1, which is 1. And is that truthy or falsy?
That's going to be truthy.
Truthy, exactly. So there's some Boolean coercion going on here. This is you know, a truthy or falsy value. And what the sort function needs is it needs to receive true if the first value is greater than the second value.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look this up on MDN. It's pretty interesting, you know, the things that you can pass as a sorting function. But so that's what's actually happening here. If the two numbers are the same, then it's 0, so it's falsy. If the other one is negative, or so if a is less than b, it would be a negative number, and I'm assuming that gets falsy. So good, we're at the end of our time. Thanks to everyone who is chiming in, and thanks to Miles and James and Sal for being brave and stepping out and being in the hot seat today. And it sounds like this was pretty useful. So we'll be sprinkling this in and amongst, you know, making up HTML interactive pages and all of that stuff. We'll do a little bit more. So have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll see if I can post this video pretty soon.
Cool. Justin?
Yeah.
I thought also what you're saying about having the interactive HTML, CSS with DOM manipulation would be super helpful. Are we doing that tomorrow?
You've got Jared tomorrow, and I would say absolutely. Let's if you would just reach out to him directly and say, you know what, this is something we could really use. I'm sure he'll run with that. And then anything that you guys don't cover, we can cover on Friday, where I'll be back in the seat.
Okay, sounds good. Good luck moving.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
A good one.
Hello?